Welcome back to today's second stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Today is Tuesday, August 18th. Hopefully you're having a wonderful week. Now, there's a lot of stuff we need to cover in today's video. Specifically, the House is being recalled back to Washington by Nancy Pelosi. Many people are speculating that this could impact the second stimulus check and when it gets passed, and I will address that very soon. But also in today's video, we are going to talk about how some states will receive a $300 unemployment boost sooner than others. We're also going to address the $25 billion for the United States Postal Service. Going to talk about where is school funding, is it coming, what is happening with it, and lastly, I want to address hazard pay for essential workers, and this is very good news. If you are an essential worker, then you might want to stick around till the end of this video. First off, will a second stimulus check have a better chance of passing now that Nancy Pelosi has called the House back to vote this coming Saturday? Now, yes, this could potentially make it easier, but this is not what the House will be voting on. The House is coming back to Washington, D.C. to vote on a different act, a different bill entirely. This bill will potentially give $25 billion to the US Postal Service. However, once this bill hits the Senate, it will most likely hit a roadblock. And you're probably thinking, well, okay, why would they even pass this? Well, there's a couple different reasons, and there is some good news to this. Now, once this hits a roadblock, and the solution may be to package this act, this piece of legislation, with some other pieces of legislation. For example, a second stimulus check, the enhanced unemployment extension, additional PPP funding, and funding for schools. This is actually what Mark Meadows said the other day, is that if Democrats want to include this, the president will sign it. He will include aid for the US Postal Service. However, Democrats need to pass this bill along with some other pieces of legislation. Now, whether Democrats are willing to do that, that is something that will be seen very soon, but who knows? Now, if Democrats feel very strongly about helping the United States Postal Service, then this might be their only move. Their only move might be to include this aid, this funding for the USPS along with other pieces of legislation. On the other hand, if Democrats don't really care that much about the United States Postal Service and are just trying to make Republicans look bad by letting the USPS fail, then this plan could potentially work. Now, what you need to know though is that the chances of getting a stimulus package passed that includes more direct stimulus payments to the American people is higher now that Democrats have included something else. They now have another need, and Republicans have made it very clear they do not want to spend $3 trillion. So, as of right now, being that Democrats are asking for something else, an additional piece, more funding for something else that wasn't really talked about or included in the HEALS Act, well, Republicans have more leverage today than they did last week. Now, just because they have more leverage does not mean a stimulus check is going to be passed. It just means there is a higher chance today than last week. Now, I don't want to, get your hopes up and say it's coming tomorrow, but we will wait and see. Now, let's talk about why some states are going to receive $300 in their federal unemployment before others. Well, the reason this is going to happen is because FEMA is in charge of administering the money. FEMA has only approved a handful of states to start receiving their 3 weeks of lost wage assistance. This is a different program. This is a lost wages assistance program. This is through FEMA, right? So many states have applied, but only a handful of states have actually been approved. If you are on unemployment, here's my recommendation to you. Just keep filing for your unemployment insurance through your state, and eventually, if the state is approved, you will get the federal unemployment boost. and it will all be retroactive. So don't worry about it right now. Just know some states are going to take longer than others, whether you're in Hawaii, Washington, Florida, Arizona. If you're in Arizona, you're looking really good because they're probably going to be the first state to receive any funding. So if you're in Arizona, congratulations, you will start to receive your unemployment boost very soon. Now, one of the questions I've been getting a lot from people lately, especially yesterday, is why does the United States Postal Service need help? They are one of the biggest employers in the United States. Why would they need help? They obviously make money, right? They don't charge nothing to ship a product, so they're probably doing pretty good. Well, here's what you need to know. First off, the United States Postal Service has been operating at a loss since 2007. If this were a business, this business would have gone bankrupt years ago. The only reason this is acceptable for the United States Postal Service is because it is not just a business, it is a service that many people rely completely on. For example, let me just give you my personal example. I run a couple different e-commerce business. I sell on eBay, but I also sell other things on different websites of mine personally. Now, what I do on a day-to-day basis is either myself or somebody that I employ will ship off some of the products, and it costs less than $5 to ship a lightweight small product through the United States Postal Service to anywhere in the United States, compared to charging about double that to use FedEx. And the other issue is FedEx or UPS do not deliver to every single location throughout the United States. The United States Postal Service does. Another example is I have a family member who lives in a somewhat rural area. Now, she relies 100% on the United States Postal Service to deliver her medications on time. She cannot get any FedEx package, any UPS package to her house. She can get it within about 40 miles. That's as close as they will deliver. And she would have to drive. Being that she doesn't drive, she relies 100% on the United States Postal Service to deliver her medications. And you may be in the same boat. Now, many people have asked one question, and that is, why has Nancy Pelosi decided to get the House or bring the House back to Washington, D.C. and vote on the United States Postal Service crisis, to vote on this new bill? Why couldn't she have done that with the second stimulus check or the unemployment benefit or even the eviction extension? Why couldn't that happen? Well, in my opinion, she made a mistake. I think they should have dealt with the unemployment extension, the eviction extension, and also sent out payments, direct payments to the American people before any of this. We should never even have to deal with this question. However, we're there now, and we'll see what happens. I know many people are upset by this, and so am I. I think Congress made a mistake. They should have never went on recess. They should still be negotiating. However, I do understand the importance of the United States Postal Service as well as getting direct payments to the American people. They need to do both. But let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question, or actually three questions. Did you get a stimulus check by mail? Or was a debit card sent to you through the mail? Or do you get your Social Security check through the mail? Or do you purchase items online and only do this because you save money simply because of the fact there's free shipping? Well, these are all benefits of having the United States Postal Service. Without the United States Postal Service, you may not have gotten your stimulus check in a timely manner, and most people didn't get very quickly anyway. You may not get your Social Security check every single month. Or the items that you order may take an additional few days, or they might cost double simply because you have to pay FedEx or UPS to deliver the package. So again, I believe the US Postal Service is needed, and they need the funds to continue operations. Now, I also believe there are many other pressing matters, and Congress needs to deal with all of them, not just the United States Postal Service crisis. America is in a crisis of their own. So where is school funding? That's something that I want to know. That's something that you want to know as well, right? You have kids, you probably want to know. Where is school funding? What are they doing about it? Well, there are a lot of issues right now. The biggest issue is that children are either going back to school or are currently in school for the first maybe week or two. And these school systems do not have the proper protections or the funding to protect the kids attending their schools. This is one of the reasons I personally will not be sending my children to school. I will be having them do virtual learning, where not only will I help them with the stuff the school is teaching them, but I will also help them with learning finances, learning business, and learning all about money and probably politics as well. Currently, the school funding, the $105 billion to not only public schools, but private schools and colleges, is currently being held up because Congress can't come up with some type of an agreement. They can't agree on the second stimulus check, the enhanced unemployment, the PPP funding, money for testing and tracing, and so much more. And until they can finally agree, the funding for schools will be held up. So until the next stimulus package gets passed, there will probably be no additional funding for schools, both public, private, and colleges. Now, remember when I said that if you are an essential worker, there is some good news regarding hazard pay for essential workers. In Pennsylvania, I have a bunch of numbers here. I'm going to read them to you. In Pennsylvania, funds are about to be distributed to essential workers. If you remember, this was a $50 million fund that Pennsylvania pretty much got some of the money from the CARES Act and is putting that towards essential workers and their hazard pay. It will be $3 per hour to all people that are essential workers that make less than $20 per hour. Now, you couldn't apply for this if you are an employee. If your employer applied for you, then they could receive the money and they would then distribute it to all employees. Now, here's how this is breaking down. Again, it's a $50 million fund. First off, healthcare is receiving the majority of the funds. So people inside the healthcare industry, they account for 63.5% of the funds, and they will get $31.75 million. Food manufacturing, they get 7.2% of the funds, and that will be $3.6 million. Food retail, 8.2% at $4.09 million. Social assistance, 12.6% at $6.3 million. Janitorial, which is cleaning for a lot of businesses, obviously dealing with COVID-19, that is 3.7% at $1.84 million. Transportation is 1.2% at $592,000, and security is 3.6% at $1.8 million. The reason this is good news is because I believe this, but I believe it because a lot of experts believe this as well, that they believe that once state and local governments receive the next round of state and local government funding from the next round of stimulus, if there is a next round of stimulus, that they will take some of those funds and they will allocate those to hazard pay for essential workers. So if you are an essential worker, if you are in any of those industries, you possibly could get hazard pay later on in the year. But again, you will just have to wait and see. It's still early on. States are still trying to determine how much money, if any, they have left over from the CARES Act. And many experts believe states will eventually offer hazard pay through the state, not from the federal level, but from the state level. So if you have any questions on that, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Alright guys, that's all I have for you guys today. That is today's second stimulus check update and stimulus package update. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But like always, thanks for watching this video. Do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys on the next one.